Maybe you like the ambiance of a fire. Maybe you want to make your living room feel nice, warm, and cozy. Maybe you're looking to reduce some of your heating bills, or maybe you're just looking to have a backup source of heat when the power's out. There are numerous reasons to consider getting a wood stove or a wood-burning fireplace insert, but in this video, we're going to talk about 10 things to consider before you take the plunge. Number one is regulations in your municipality. There are certainly some areas, perhaps in the suburbs or maybe in a more urban area, where there's concern about air quality, and there are regulations about what you can and can't do in your fireplace. There also could be a homeowners association for your community that may have rules based on wood smoke and the desire or lack thereof of people in the community to smell wood smoke. So first and foremost, make sure that it is legal and a-okay for you to install a wood burning appliance in your home. Number two is homeowners insurance. Before you install a wood stove in your home, make sure that your homeowners insurance company is aware of it and will cover you having a solid fuel heater in your home. Three, what is your goal? Are you just looking for ambiance, the occasional fire when you're sitting in your living room, nice and cozy? Are you looking to heat part of your house all winter? Are you looking to burn 24/7 and heat most of your home all winter? Set a goal or go into a purchase with a clear goal in mind so that you select an appropriate unit based on your particular goal and heating needs. Number four is related to number three, and that is how much space are you trying to heat? Are you trying to heat a whole 2,000 square foot 3-bedroom home? Or are you just trying to heat a room or a wing of your home? Are you trying to heat that home all winter? Are you trying to heat it only when the power's out or on occasions where you want to take the load off of some other primary heat source? How many square feet? And again, take the information that the stove manufacturers give you as square foot heated with a grain of salt, and also set reasonable expectations for yourself. How air moves through your home and how the space is connected is all going to dictate how well distributed that heat gets. The other factor is how tight your home is in terms of insulation and how much heat loss there is. And on top of that, you want to have a reasonable expectation with respect to the fact that the room with the stove is going to be appreciably warmer than a room that's farther away from the stove. So if you're trying to use this to heat your whole home, just know that your whole home is not going to be the same temperature throughout. Someone who's used to central heating all the time might find it a little uncomfortable when the back bedroom is rather chilly compared to, say, the living room or the kitchen or wherever that wood burning stove is located. Number five is wood. Where are you going to source your wood from? Are you going to cut it yourself on your own property? Do you have enough land for that? Are you going to buy it from someone else? And then if you're buying it, are you going to buy it green? Are you going to buy it dry? And then assuming you buy it green, where are you going to dry it? Where are you going to store it? This is important things to think about because you can go through a lot of wood, especially if you're heating by burning 24/7 in a wood stove. Where I am in southern New Hampshire, burning 24/7, we'll go through about 1/4 of a cord of wood per week through the dead of winter. Over the whole burn season, we'll burn about 5 cord of wood through the wood stove. And pretty much all medium to large stoves are going to do that to put out the heat to heat a typical size home. So something really important to think about, where that wood's coming from, how much you need based on what you want to do in terms of your burning habits, and where you're going to store it and dry it, because it's best to keep it covered, keep it out of the snow as you're going through the winter so that you can get it up and into your house easily. Number 6 is venting. Do you have a masonry chimney with a fireplace in your home? If so, maybe a fireplace insert makes a lot of sense. Do you not have a masonry chimney in your home at all, which is the case for many newer homes? If so, that doesn't mean you can't get a wood-burning appliance, but it does mean you'll have to get a chimney installed as well, which can just be a manufactured, prefabricated metal chimney. So consider venting before you jump in and get yourself set on a wood-burning appliance. Number 7 is dirt and your tolerance for dirt. Wood stoves or wood burning appliances are dirty things. There is ash dust. You are bringing wood into your house. There's debris on the wood that will fall off. There can be bugs and spiders and things that just like being near the rough surfaces that are on firewood. So even if they're not coming in with the wood, which, let's face it, they often are, you could have some spiders in your house that will just gravitate toward this and make their nest there. So what is your dirt tolerance? And think about that before you take the plunge into a wood burning stove. 8 is combustion technology. There are different combustion technologies out there to meet the modern EPA certification limits on emissions from wood stoves. There are non-catalytic stoves that do this via secondary combustion within the firebox. There are catalytic stoves which make use of a catalytic combustor to clean the emissions. And then there are hybrid stoves which make use of both technologies within a single stove. I've made another video, which I'll put a link here up at the top, that explains the difference between these. So just know when you go into purchasing a stove, how that combustion system works. And once you've decided on one, there are some different considerations with respect to maintenance that will also matter. Number 9 is maintenance. Wood burning appliances require maintenance on a daily, weekly, monthly, and then semi-annual or annual basis. First and foremost, they need to be loaded, right? You need to tend to the fire, and that is something that needs to be done every 4 to 10, maybe 12 hours, depending on what your burn cycle is. You also need to deal with the ashes every few days and removal of the ashes. There are different systems, depending on the type of unit, for removal of the ashes. The simplest is to have a flat bottom firebox and to use a shovel to simply shovel out the ashes into a metal bucket. This is going to be the only method of ash removal available on a wood burning fireplace insert. The downside to it is that it requires really burning the fire all the way down or all the way out to clean out the ashes. The next level up from that is something called an ash dump, which makes use of an ash pan, but within the firebox of the stove, there's just a plug that you pull out of the bottom of the stove, and then you scrape the ashes down through the hole into the pan below, and then you put that plug back in. You have to basically burn the fire down the same way as you do if you were shoveling the ashes out directly into a bucket. The third system, which in my opinion is the best for 24/7 burning, is to have a grated ash system, meaning there is a grate in the bottom of the stove, and that grate allows ash to pass down through into a pan that exists under the firebox. In this case, every time you rake the coals in the stove, you're raking ash right down through that grate. And then every couple days or few days, that pan will have filled up. And when the fire is all died down, you can take that pan out easily and go take it out to a metal container and store your ashes that way. And you don't really have to worry about ever shoveling or scooping and getting hot coals up that way. These pans typically come with a cover. You can slide right over the pan so it's all contained. This also really helps with that dirt factor with ashes. When you're shoveling ashes with a shovel, you tend to get little clouds of dust that billow up, whereas just slipping an ash pan out, you're not dropping, or there's no sort of impact of moving ash within your home, because you can take that pan outside and empty it into a metal container outside. There's also maintenance in cleaning the glass if you like your glass to be clean. Now, most glass will stay pretty clean because there's an air wash, but there will be a little bit of buildup if you're burning 24/7. To clean the glass, fire needs to go all the way out and the glass needs to be cool. Another maintenance thing, if you have a catalytic or a hybrid stove, you have a catalytic combustor. This periodically needs to be inspected and cleaned in order for it to work optimally and most efficiently. Finally, we come to the chimney itself. The chimney needs to be cleaned at least annually, and it would be better if it could be inspected through the heating season as well, especially if you're burning a lot more toward the 24/7 end of the spectrum, just to make sure that that flue is staying nice and clean. If you're not burning right, if your wood's a little wet, or you're just not burning cleanly, you can get creosote building up in your chimney, and that could lead to a chimney fire. So it's very important to keep your chimney clean and your stove burning and running optimally. Last but not least, number 10 is cost. If you were going into a wood stove purchase thinking you're going to save money on heat, it's not so straightforward. And actually, arguably, it's about the same cost unless you're sourcing your wood yourself from your own property. So you have the upfront cost of purchasing the unit. You have the installation of the unit, which is usually going to come with relining a masonry chimney or installing a chimney. So all of that cost is upfront. You have the cost of wood along the way. And then you also have the cost of maintenance, having that chimney cleaned if you don't do it yourself. Recently, I was quoted that it's $375 now, as of 2022, to get a wood burning appliance flue cleaned by the company that I usually use. So bear that in mind, because that's a 1 to 2 times a year expense that you're always going to incur. So the maintenance costs are not so different from a conventional furnace. Your fuel costs, again, energy is energy. So if you're buying wood, especially if you're buying dry wood, you're going to find that it's perhaps not a whole lot cheaper than buying other heating fuel. Buying green wood, you might be able to save a little money, but again, you got to store that wood and dry it out. If you're cutting your own wood, that's where the savings really kick in, because if you don't mind the labor of doing it, you're basically paying yourself by doing it instead of paying for heating fuel. But don't go into purchasing a wood heater thinking that this is going to save you a ton of money, because certainly it doesn't necessarily save you a ton of money unless you are producing all of the wood yourself from your own property. So that's it. 10 things to consider before taking the plunge to buy a wood burning heater, a wood stove, or a wood fireplace insert for your home. Wood heat is wonderful, but it's not for everyone. So just make sure it's for you before you spend a whole bunch of money and then become potentially dissatisfied with your purchase.